Welcome to this lecture from Moses Learn Lab, where we make Excel fun for data lovers. In Excel, understanding the structure of the spreadsheet is fundamental. Everything you do, entering data, writing formulas, formatting, happens within cells, which are arranged in rows and columns. So let's dive into the building block of Excel, the rows, the column, and cells. Now, rows are labeled with numbers. Rows of Excel, if you are in your Microsoft environment, the spreadsheet, rows are labeled with numbers like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, like that are what your rows. They run horizontal across the spreadsheet. Horizontal is just like this straight line you're seeing in row 3. So like this, it's what horizontal. So rows runs what horizontal across the spreadsheet, and they are labeled with what numbers. Now, columns are labeled with alphabet. They are labeled with alphabet. A, B, C, D are what? They are columns. And they runs vertical. They runs what? Vertical. Just like you can see in this column D, vertical from the top to the bottom. And a cell, the cell I'm talking about is a cell, C-E-double-L, is the intersection of a row and a column. The intersection of what? A row and a column. Just like what I have here now in B5. So it is telling you that you are what? You are in row 5, column what? B. So the intersection I mean is that when you check the row, you discover that 5 is what? Highlighted. Now when you check what the column, you discover that B is what? Highlighted. So there is intersection between what? A row and column. And this intersection, this small box on a black is what? Is a cell in it. The cell. So the intersection between a row and column is known as cell. For example, in A1, it means that you are in column A and what? Row 1. It means you are in what? Column A and in what? Row 1. How you will know this is if you go to this box here, this name box, it is showing what? A1. So it means you are in column A, row 1. That's this. That. And cells are the basic building block of a cell. They are the basic building block of a cell. They are where you enter data, you perform calculation. They are also the place that result displays. That's where you see your result. So you cannot do without what? Cell, as long as you're in Microsoft Excel environment. Cell is very important. So now we are going to explore how to know the rows and the column, how to know the numbers, how many rows we have and how many columns we have. Now, if you want to know the number of rows you have, just Ctrl down arrow. Ctrl down arrow. So what you see there is 1,048,576 rows. So it means that the total rows in a cell is 1,048,576 rows. So, and this is the maximum number of rows we have in a cell, is the maximum. So row is finite. So anything you are doing, anytime you are entering data, once you exceed this 1,048,576, it means you cannot add more rows again. You cannot add more rows again. Now if you want to go back to row row 1, which is A1, you do the same control up arrow, it will take you back. Now we want to know the last column we have in a cell. Now if you want to know the last column in a cell, you just press what? Control and the right arrow. Control, right arrow. So you discover that the last column we have there is what? The XFD column. This is the last column we have in a cell. No other column. This is the last. Now if you want to go back to your column A, the same control, the left arrow, it will take you to the first column. Now if you want to know the total number of columns we have in a cell, so since we are in what? In cell 1, which is A1, you do a type equals to there. Now you can do that using function. So equals to columns. We're in what? Column A. So we have A is to the last column we have is what? XFD, right? You close the bracket and hit what? Enter. You discover that what you have there is what? 16,384 columns. This is the number of columns we have in a cell, 16,384 columns. Now there's another way you can also dictate this total number of columns. If in case you don't want to use the A is to SFD, you claim that and also start with what? Remember, every function starts with what? Equals to columns, right? Columns, the one with X. 1 is to what? Is to 1. You close the bracket, you hit what? Enter. You still have the same 16,384 columns, right? So that's the number of total columns you have in a cell. So mastering the rows, the column and cell is very important because it helps you to organize and analyze your data effectively. So it is a must for anybody in a cell to know these things. So in summary, I know now you can effectively differentiate rows, column and cell. Remember I told you that rows are represented with numbers and the rows what? Horizontal. The black line straight my right hand side is what? The rows. Now the column are represented with what? Letters, the alphabet, the A, B, C, D and the rest of them. And the rows what? Vertical. The black line straight. And I told you that cell is what? The intersection of a row and a column. And remember I also showed you how to know the number of rows, and I told you we have 1,048,576 rows with what? Formula. Remember what I told you? You press what? Control down arrow, you get what? 1,048,576 rows. Now for the columns we have 16,384 columns. I also showed you how to do it using a function equals to columns using a function equals to, open a bracket, right? A is to what? XFD. You close the word bracket, hit enter, and you get it. So stay tuned. In our next video we talk about this big man here called name boss. So in the comment section, what is the name of the cell at the intersection of column D, row 5, column D, row 5? What is the name of that intersection there? Drop your answer in the comment section. Subscribe for more Moses Learn Lab tips. God bless you.